But I also want to share a New Testament passage with you today that speaks to something that has been a part of my life for a very long time, and that's anxiousness and worry. And I don't know if you're anxious today or if you're feeling worried about what's going to happen. Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to be able to get the food I need or the gas I need? And how do I take care of life, and what's okay to do and what's not okay to do when it regards staying at home? All these questions come flooding into us, and I can worry about them just like the next person. But fortunately, I found this one passage that Paul wrote to the Philippian church. It's familiar to probably most of you, if not all of you. But it's something I go to all the time, and I just want to encourage you to consider going to it when you feel anxious or worrisome. So I have it right here. I have my Bible open to Philippians chapter 4. I'm going to start and just walk through a couple of verses and just talk about them for a minute, and I hope they're a source of encouragement and hope to you. So, in chapter 4, verse 6, Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything." Now, I remember the first time I read that, I go, but God, I am anxious. A lot of things over my lifetime have created anxiousness in me. Money, where my kids are at, do I have a job? What is going on with life around me? I mean, there's a lot of things we can be anxious about. So I go, okay, God, well, I'm anxious. Now what do I do? And I like what Paul writes next. He says, but in every situation of anxiousness or worry, he says, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. What's he asking us to do here? He's asking us to pray. And petition means make your requests. Ask God what you really want. Tell him you're anxious. Tell him you are feeling worrisome about the specific thing it is that you're worrisome about or anxious about. And then with thanksgiving in your heart, just be thankful that we have a God to go to that hears those requests. And then I really love what comes next, because that's for us to do. When we're worrisome, when we're anxious about something, we go to God in prayer and we make a very specific, really heartfelt, cry out to God kind of moment request with the thing we're anxious about. And then there's a promise. I love this. This chapter 4, verse 7, it says this, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Isn't that a powerful promise? I mean, God says, if you will come to me with your petitions and your requests, the things that you're anxious about, the things you're worrying about, here's what I'm going to do. I have peace, God says, and I'm going to give you that peace. And that peace is going to go way beyond. It's going to transcend people's understanding. It won't make sense, but that peace is going to guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. I claim that promise often. When I pray, I even actually pray those verses and I say, God, I want your peace. I want that peace that transcends human's understanding. I want my heart guarded so that I can be in a place of hope and reliance upon you and leaning not on my understanding, but on trusting in you, God. Now, some of the verses that don't get talked about a whole lot follow here, because it even gives us something else to consider and where our minds should go. Listen to what he continues to say. He says in verse 8, finally, brothers and sisters. In other words, here's my last words to you on this subject. To my fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or if it's praiseworthy, think about such things. So in other words, he's saying, redirect your mind, redirect your thoughts in these ways. Take your mind off of your worry and your anxiousness and put it here. Consider, think about what is true, think about what is noble, think about what is right, think about the pure things of life. If anything is excellent and praiseworthy, think about these things. And finally, he says, whatever you've learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice. And the God of peace will be with you. Do you want God's peace in this moment? I know I do. I know that I used to have to pray this prayer like every hour on the hour because there's so many things that come at us. And as I've been faithful to trust in God, He is growing me spiritually, to grow in my ability to lean on Him, not lean on myself. So as we go through this time, who knows how long this stay-at-home feature is going to be part of our lives. We as a church want to continue to encourage you to live in this passionate pursuit of life in Jesus. And we may not be gathered on Sunday morning, that's a method, but we will be gathered together through all the ways that we can reach one another, through digital medias and phones and videos and all those types of things, so that we can encourage one another. So my prayer is that I hope you will take a moment and each day and listen to these videos as they become available. Our desire is to care for you and to grow with you in the times we share together. May God bless you this day as you sort out your emotions and your feelings. And I encourage you to go to prayer with every anxious thought, with every worrisome thought, and ask God for peace. Ask Him for the peace that doesn't make sense. God bless you guys. We'll see you again soon.